So this is the Juke R. I have read about it just like you guys have, and I have dreamed about it just like you guys have. But here we are, finally driving it. Warming up some tires here. Like these guys are kind of looking over me like hawks. Anyway, this car was built by RML in England. Now, those guys, when I grow up, I want to work for RML. These guys, they build race cars for a living.
RML Group are a multidiscipline motorsports company operating out of the UK. We have in previous years competed in World Touring Cars as the Chevrolet Works team, British Touring Cars, and in the late 90s the Touring Cars with Nissan in British Touring Cars with the Primera GT.
So that would give them really good experience to take a Juke and turn it into a GTR. I want to do that. I mean, just take this kind of like normal blah car. Actually, it's not that blah of a car because I do like the way it looks. I'm one of the few people that likes the way it looks. And turn it into a monster. Okay,
so what you can see here is the engine bay of the Juke R. Model year 2012 GTR was used as a donor car for the engine for this Juke R, and the engine has been pushed right back into the engine bay to create all the space for the radiators and cooling fans, etc. at the front. The bulkhead of the chassis had to be moved 150 millimeters further into the cabin than you can find on the standard Juke, which means the seating position also is 150 millimeters further into the chassis, and the driver sits parallel with the B pillar of the car.
So this is based on a 2012 model year GTR, so it has 545 horsepower. But interesting thing to note, it has all of the computer bits of the 2012 GTR. So it's got the buttons to adjust the all-wheel drive system, to put it in R mode, traction control. It even has the Sony whiz-bang computer graphics and all the gauges. That actually is pretty cool over a normal Juke. I gotta tell you, I feel like they've reprogrammed the transmission. It doesn't have quite the same harsh shifts as the GTR, and as we discussed in the past, I actually am one of the few people that like the transmission in the GTR. I don't like automatics, I much prefer manuals. We've discussed this many times. And if I'm gonna have like a dual clutch, or I'm gonna have one of these automated manual systems, I want one that goes thump, you know, like that. But this one really doesn't do that. This one is more smooth than a regular GTR.
The front track of Juke R is the same as a GTR. So to accommodate that extra width from the Juke body shell, we created flared arches onto the front fenders. This also matches up to an enlarged front bumper, modified and designed by Nissan Design Europe, carbon sills and a carbon rear bumper.
The biggest difference really in driving this over a GTR is the wheelbase. Now think about this for a minute. The car is physically shorter because a Juke is physically shorter than a GTR. And what they've done is they've hand constructed its own bespoke floor pan. As we've discussed, the firewall is farther ahead, so the dynamics are significantly different than driving a regular GTR. Is it twitchy? Yes. But is it unstable? Absolutely not. I mean, you hit this thing and she really goes. Maybe you feel a little bit more bounce, but that's really about it.
The aero balance of Juke R currently is pretty neutral. The reason for that is you have the two rear winglets which create rear downforce, but as a consequence of that, to create a neutral aero balance, we had to have some drag reduction strips under the front bumper, which helped create more downforce of the car overall, but still with a neutral aero balance.
So here we are in a disused airfield that's been set up like a racetrack, which is fun. But I gotta tell you, you know where this car would be the most fun? City streets of like New York or London. Middle of the night, just screaming through traffic. This would be the perfect car. So click here to watch one of our 250 other episodes. Click here to subscribe. And can we ask you guys a favor? Can you watch these within the first 36 hours? Because it gets us more views, which gets us more dollars, which gets you more episodes. And of course, follow us, MotoManTV, all one word, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'll see you guys next time.